All right, what's up, everybody? We're gonna give people a minute or two to join up, and then we're gonna get rolling on our topics of the day. If you want us to talk about things you want to hear, you can donate to the stream or hit the Cash App. I'm about to link it. And today with me as well, joining the round table on my live stream is my boy Tuck, one of the mods for my server. If you want to say what's good.
You.
Yeah, he's starting a Zelda playthrough channel, so definitely check my guy out. And then
Yeah, really. Yeah.
yeah, shit's gonna be gas. And then we got my boy
No.
GB, the lawyer, if you want to say what's up.
You.
Yeah, we got a couple of the guys here. If you want to at any point come give your opinion, like weigh in on topics we're talking about, join my server. In the voice chat doing the stage in my server right now, and we're willing to drag you up to hear what you got to say about certain topics. Should be a lot of fun tonight. Multiple topics on the board. So yeah, lock in. Let's ooh, we can set a goal now. Set a timer. Let's set it for an hour. Share how you'll celebrate. DC tier list stream with GB. We're gonna set the goal. Boom. You need
There's
that,
a goal.
Virgil? I started a goal. Yeah, I've never started a goal before. We might fucking airball. Did you alert
Is
the
that
server,
10
by the way?
comments or 10 super chats?
10 super chats.
Uh,
I'll drop a Virgil video if we hit those 10 super chats. Ooh. But yeah, but with that out the way, Tuck, you sent it to my server, right?
yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our different topics. First topic of the day, and I'm gonna let GB lead off talking about it because I know he has a few opinions on it. The absolute universe currently taking place in DC Comics. It's a certain run that's taking place in its own universe, and it's got different takes right now. It's got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Superman literally just dropped today, and Martian Manhunter's coming soon. So, GB, early thoughts. In general, you can get specific if you want. Regardless, what do you think?
The changes made to Wonder Woman are good, design-wise and story-wise. Her being raised by Cersei is really interesting. Her being raised in Hell is really interesting. The magic that she uses is interesting. Superman seems to be kind of like Broly, where he just doesn't have a homeworld anymore. He doesn't know how to control his power. He's susceptible to like rage outbursts, things like that. So I like his design. I like the art style for the comic. I like the writing of the characters in the book itself. Um, we don't really get much from Superman outside of like his little rage outburst and him not being able to control his powers. Also, his suit is like sentient, like some kind of AI, like some kind of Jarvis. It like talks to him. So there's that as well. Um, Not really sure where they're gonna go with Superman. So we'll see what they do with him. Batman just looks corny. He's too big. He's cartoony. It's Edge Lord incarnate. The axe that comes off his chest is just dumb. And Martian Manhunter looks like Gumby. There's some things that are hit and there's some things that are obviously missed. If you like the Martian Manhunter design, you're trying too hard to like everything. Like that is a terrible design. I don't want to see that thing near Superman. That thing shouldn't be on the Justice League. That is an abomination. So hopefully they kill off I'm gonna say right now, hopefully they kill off Batman because he looks stupid, and hopefully they kill off Martian Manhunter because he looks stupid. Other than that, everything else is a go.
Tuck, what are your early thoughts?
I think when it comes to Batman and Martian people are like it's just true. People are trying too hard to like it. That shit is just toxic positivity. It's like, oh, people just want to hate on things. It's like, no, that shit's just terrible. And then Batman, I think it's overhyped to fuck. I saw so much content on just Batman. I was like, okay, let me read the comic, and the comic is like not great. He's a cornball, and then I know nothing about anything else.
That's fair. That's fair. So I'm gonna give my initial opinions, and then from there we could talk about a couple other aspects of the Absolute Verse. One, I think the inception of it's kind of dope with Darkseid and whatnot. It started off relatively decent. Batman, read parts of it. I gotta sit down and really lock in because even if I end up not really liking it, it's super popular right now. I kind of agree with GB on the cartoonish nature of his build. And the reason that's an issue is, again, we acknowledge before arguing this that we do suspend some disbelief when we read comic books. However, it's also relative to the context of the comics they're in. Batman being 6'8", 350, all muscle. I'm sorry. Bruce Wayne's not getting away with that. The Mountain from Game of Thrones can't walk around like that and then just throw a suit on. Like like what's Bane gonna be? Like 9 feet tall? Bane won't be able to be anything stealthy. Joker's about to be 6'6", 250, all muscle. Penguin's about to crack 5'8". Like, I don't want this. I don't think I understand why it's popular. I think, and y'all can hate if you want. I think for the most part, Edgelord Batman hits with audiences. They like it. So I'm not shocked it's doing well. But I do agree, due to how it's being written, due to the build, the bulkiness, the in-your-face nature. Like, they just dropped the cover with Ra's al Ghul, and Ra's al Ghul looks like a 4-year-old. What is going on? Like, it's
Yeah.
extremely problematic for storytelling purposes moving forward. So I don't know how that's going to go.
I really dislike the edgelord aspects as well, because like people like it at first, but like really quickly they realize that it gets old, and I don't know how people keep falling for edgelord Batman, like the fickin' bajillionth time that they've done it.
I don't necessarily have an issue with how Absolute Batman operates, but I do think some of the aspects of him, like him being that massive, is going to be very problematic.
Yeah, no, he just looks cartoony. Like, um, Superman has always either been bigger than Batman or the same size. Why does Batman, someone who's weaker than Superman, make Superman look cartoonishly small? Like, I don't care. Like, it's just there's so many fat neck beard. All right, let me.
He said there's too many Kamala supporters.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
All right,
Nah,
Lex
but
Luthor, relax.
there's
Keep
just
going,
so many
GB.
fans. There's so many fans of Batman that just love when he's the dude, when he's the guy, and they don't care by you know what means get them to that end. They don't care. They just want that to be the end, and it's dumb. It's stupid. I'm a big Superman fan. I love when Superman is the dude. I love when Superman is the answer. I love when he saves the day. I don't care what people. Oh my God, Superman's corny. Whatever. But like I'm willing to, like for example, um the story by what's his name, that writer, where Superman fights Mongol on the War World.
JJ? Yeah, Philip.
Yeah, I don't like I said, I like Superman, but I have a limit to when the reasons like get me to an end. Like I usually want that to be the end, but the reasons have to be within reason. I don't want to see Superman fighting the strongest Mongol who's ever existed on a red sun, nerfed to oblivion to where he's practically a regular mortal, and he's somehow overpowering Mongol who has a fragment of some relic in his chest that gives him source level energy or lets him tap into a fragment of the source. Like, I don't want to see that. That doesn't make sense. Why did you nerd? Like, it just doesn't make sense. That's what Batman is artistically now. Why is he that big? How big is Bane going to be? Because Bane's supposed to be big. So how big is Bane going to be? What, he's 12'6"? 750 pounds? That doesn't make sense. What is Bane, a Titan? Like, what is going on in Gotham in the absolute verse?
Are we about to get a petite Bane?
Gotham water supply has been spiked with human growth hormone.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, actually.
Everyone just grew massive in Gotham.
Yeah, I think ultimate. I kind of disagree on like. I think the way he acts. I think the backstory being, normal job. He's on the grind. He's on the grizzle. I think that can definitely appeal and in a lot of ways work. But I do think when they make him, 5 times the size of Brock Lesnar, that does limit some things you can do with him narratively. That's just the truth. Now, it would be funny as fuck if they made Bane petite. They already made Ra's al Ghul look like a child, so I really don't know how that shit's gonna go. Now, the Manhunter, it looks ugly as fuck. Like, I'm sorry. There's nothing in it for me to say he looks good. There's nothing in it for me to say he looks bad. He just is. Like, that's a shitty design. That's a really hard sell. And people telling me they think it looks awesome, I don't understand their reasoning for why it looks awesome. It looks like fucking Silly Putty because the design was inspired by fucking Silly Putty. How is that raw? Why would I want to see Calypso lands on the planet? The universe is about to get fucked. I don't want to see Gumby standing there with the League. I'd rather see the universe end. I'd rather that be the end of the absolute universe. I said, you know what? If that's one of our last defenders, we're out. We concede. Like, fuck that, dude. It looks absolutely atrocious. And I've said this before. I felt like it was trying to capitalize on the memes of Absolute Batman. But the difference with that is Absolute Batman looks oversized. Looks just massive. But it still looks like a variant of Batman. Clearly. And to a degree, still looks fine. Manhunter, no fucking redeeming qualities. People are like, oh, it's an interdimensional being. It's trying to figure out how to blend in and look good. Okay, is he stupid as fuck then? Is that the sell? That Manhunter is just dumb as fuck? Because how did he look around at Earth and come up with that? How? Horrible.
I was trying to blend in with toys.
Yeah, he's trying to Toy Story as a 6-foot fucking human too. Like changing into it's terrible. It's just shitty. And then you get to Absolute Wonder Woman and it's heat. I'm sorry, women are up. This is what we lost Kamala for, okay? We had to get a fire ass female storyline like Absolute Wonder Woman. I actually think that's gonna be a banger. She has the qualities of someone like traditional Wonder Woman that makes Wonder Woman one of the GOATs, but the background being raised by Cersei, who's one of the absolute beasts in DC, especially when it comes to magic, essentially being raised in hell, that sick. I love Absolute Wonder Woman. I think that shit is super fire. I really do. Superman, and I'm not the biggest Superman guy. Absolute Superman looks heat. Breeze through. GB was sending me a bunch of the pages today. I didn't read it 100%. I read probably 60, 70%. Fire so far. Looks sick. Has a lot of potential. Bat and Wonder Woman definitely did not miss. Batman for me, mid-grade. Manhunter can fuck off.
Yeah. The guy who made the Manhunters
Antonio, we are making... So Antonio just said we don't even know what we're making fun of. Antonio, we know for a fact we're making fun of what's being shown to us. You can say what you want about our opinion. Fact. Batman's like 6'10". Fact. He can't fit through 90% of the doors in Gotham. Fact. Everyone should know that's fucking Bruce Wayne. Like, come on. And then when Penguin shows up and he's 6'6", what are you gonna say? When Cobblepot is a super heavyweight, what are we gonna do? Riddler's about to pull up like Brock Lesnar in his prime. It's reasonable to suggest Gotham and Absolute Universe has growth hormones in the water. Favorite Superman design in general? Oh, I don't know. But that's kind of my takes on the Absolute Universe. We're gonna move on to the next topic. Controversial one. Spider-Man. If you guys didn't hear, Spider-Man had just a tough run, to say the least. Peter may or may not have been cucked multiple times. And this was written by Zeb Wells. Now, Zeb caught a lot of shit. He's gotten a lot of hate. Spider-Man fans do not like him. He's finally called it into his turn with Spider-Man. Fellas, what's our initial thought on the chaos that Zeb Wells has brought to this multiverse? GB, initial thoughts.
GB's goaded. All right.
Go for it. Talk GB Dad.
Yeah, GB died. The goat doesn't need to say anything. The song speak for itself. I'm gonna say something. I think Zeb Wells is kind of boxed in by Marvel editorial. I think Marvel editorial is the reason why Spider-Man is just permanently cucked.
All right, can you hear me now?
Oh, he's back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good.
All right, yeah, no, Tuck, you can go. I'll finish after
Yeah,
you.
I'll finish my thought. It's essentially Marvel editorial's fault. Zeb can take the heat for creating Paul, but like, I think it's time to get rid of Peter's like love interests if we're not gonna have him like progress anywhere. If we want to permanently keep him as a broke like student, then like get rid of the Mary Jane character if we don't want him to have that relationship because she's just not interesting on her own. And like Paul, like the Paul shit's just corny. Like whatever storyline they had with him, where he's like from an alt universe, like that's just goofy. I think.
All right. So, real talk. I don't care about Spider-Man at all. Straight up. Spider-Man stories suck. There's like for the thousands of comics he's in and the thousands of like arcs he's had. There's like maybe 4 or 5 decent ones. There's maybe less good ones. I just don't care. Every time he loses, he's holding back, or he's crying, so he's not at full power, or like the power of love is gonna power him up. It's just corny. People act like Zeb Wells was doing some great disservice to Spider-Man. His rogue gallery sucks. There's an 80-year-old man in a vulture costume flying around. He has some idiot who's delusional who thinks he can hunt every animal on the planet and now thinks that he is his father. There's another idiot that for some reason has cornrow waves in his hair, but he's Caucasian and is sometimes a goblin and sometimes he's Iron Man. There's some fat dude in Hell's Kitchen who is a mob boss, but also like a governor or politician or something, and is now like politically bound to Krakoa. And then you have some guy running around in an oversized oven mitt with like electrical hands. That is one of the worst rogue galleries in comics. The fact that people want good stories out of that or think good stories can come from that is crazy. The best thing they have is Carnage and Venom, and Carnage and Venom have both outgrown Spider-Man as an entity. They can now exist outside of Spider-Man. Similar to how the Joker can exist outside of Batman, these two characters have outgrown the hero that they have opposed for so many years. So I don't know what stories people want from Spider-Man. I don't know where they want him to go, where they want him taken. Peter Parker sucks, Miles Morales is better, and Miles' comics have been better forever. Hold L.
Right. So it's funny because you technically just defended Zeb Wells, but I'm pretty sure if he watched, he'd be so conflicted. Like he wouldn't know what the fuck to do. All right, so Paul was the greatest thing to happen to Spider-Man in years, and I'm so fucking serious. Like, regardless of if you appreciate Zeb Wells as a writer, you can hate him as much as you want. Paul had Spider-Man's name buzzing again. Like, everybody was talking about this dude that took his bitch. Now, I agree with Tuck. Tuck said along the lines of he thinks editorial kind of handcuffed Zeb. I would agree. I think the way MJ was used, I feel like Zeb wanted to just get rid of MJ. But editorial probably didn't let him. And because of that, we got this Paul situation going on. I don't think it's the worst Spider-Man story I've ever read. I think it's interesting in some ways. Tombstone was relevant for 20 minutes. That's crazy. We did see a few different things, but ultimately wasn't the best, wasn't the worst, but not many Spider-Man stories have inherently iconic moments. Like, and when I say Spider-Man stories, I mean like his solo runs and stories based around him. In my opinion, Spider-Man's at his best when he's with others. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but typically that's when I feel like he's written at his best or has his best moments. But in solo runs, Zeb Wells, like his beef with Paul, the Paul incident, that's iconic. Like that's crazy. So to me, I get the hate, but he also had Spider-Man popping again. And he gave us one of the easiest villains to hate in like a decade. So
Yeah, like to be fair to Zeb Wells, he made the best of a bad situation. I know why Marvel editorial keeps Spider-Man like that because essentially, if Spider-Man is like always in his like kind of like high school, college era with like being broke and having no family, then like he's attractive to new readers, and he sells comics to people that like normally wouldn't buy comics. And it's like it's basically the smartest move you can do with the character. If he's like not gonna have good stories, then you may as well sell comics with him.
we have a
Bro,
fun.
like,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
this is how delusional Spider-Man fans are. You remember, like, what was it? Was it last hunt or something like that, where Craven was fighting some mutant in the cell, in like some mutant creature in the sewers, and he thought by beating this creature he was like superior to Spider-Man. People think that that story is heat. That story is the perspective of a lunatic high off of drugs doing absolutely nothing with his life and then committing suicide at the end. That story sucks. Straight up, that story is dog shit. There's no way somebody could tell me Craven beating up on some overgrown rat in the sewers of New York is supposed to be meaningful to the character of Spider-Man. He is on every drug imaginable. Every drug imaginable. And then he beats this irrelevant ass character. This irrelevant ass character that nobody in their life is ever gonna rep. And then he kills himself because he feels like he did it. That's how delusional Spider-Man fans are. Y'all off the yerks. Y'all off the yerks for sure. That story sucks. No Spider-Man fan could ever come to me and tell me that Superman's corny, whatever, yada yada yada, whatever. I don't want to hear it. If that's the story you rep, I don't want to hear it. you're irrelevant. Zeb Wells is a demon compared to whoever the hell wrote that shit. I don't know who wrote that. Whoever did should never pick up a
J.M.
pen.
DeMatteis. He gave us Man Thing, you slut.
Man Thing's irrelevant in Marvel.
I know.
That man is
No, I knew you were
that
gonna
man.
go for Man Thing. That's why I.
Yo, like that is nothing. That is a character that
Yeah,
is
no.
worth nothing to me to sell
I
down the
knew.
river.
I
I'm not
knew.
gonna lie.
I knew that was like probably like if you guys didn't know this, if there's like 5 characters you probably don't want to bring up and argue for relevance, Man Thing's one of them. So he did
That
give
bro
us
has
some.
been in control of the Nexus of Marvel for I don't know how many years, and he stayed irrelevant every. Yo, Hulk, he like mind hacks the Hulk recently, and Hulk like ripped him apart and beat him up.
Yeah, he kept beating. He had to ask
Zero
Hulk.
respect.
He had to ask Hulk to stop beating the shit out of him inside his own Nexus. He was like, Hulk, please stop. Shout out to the last 2 donations, by the way. Uh, Big Ruckus asked, "Can we get a most violent evil characters video?" I tell you what, if we hit the super chat goal, I think we're at 2 of 10. Ooh, you were a little off, but you know what? I'll give y'all an extra point because Spiffy hit us with the 15. If we hit that $50 donation wise, either through Cash App or on stream, yes, I'll do a tier list with GB for most violent characters.
Yo, the fact that I forgot that Spiffy was even around. Is he even in the server?
I don't know if it's the same Spiffy.
I
I
don't know.
have
If it
like
is the
8
same
Spiffies
Spiffy,
that comment.
yeah. All right. So what's next? What are we doing next?
So controversial topic is Iron Man right about Hulk. So I'm going to say what Iron Man said before we talk about it. So Iron Man's stance been pretty consistent throughout the years. Pretty fair. Hulk's dangerous. Hulk's strong as shit. Some forms of Hulk no one can really beat up. So why is he around? Because sometimes he just does shit. And in Iron Man's estimation, in a lot of points, Hulk's more of a threat than he is an asset. Tuck, I know you're a Hulk fan, so I want to hear your take first, and then GB, you're after him.
I think Marvel editorial needs to listen to Iron Man if that's the case. Like, never have Hulk crossover ever fucking again. He has only had 1, maybe 2 good crossovers, and every time he does, it's like him beating up everyone. That's the only time he's ever good with in context of crossing into other comics. Otherwise, he's just used as a punching bag for the villain. He's so much better in his own stories. Like Iron Man needs to send him off to fucking Planet Hulk #2. Give him another good storyline like that. I don't know.
Um, now as it stands right now, current Hulk story. As much as I don't care about it, it's probably the best story he's had on a solo run, where he's not like beating up the Avengers because they don't want to kill him. Um, that's always been Iron Man's stance. Iron Man has always wanted to just kill the Hulk, whether it's killing Banner, whether it's separating them and just destroying the Hulk itself. Iron Man has always wanted to kill the Hulk. Up until now, that has been validated. I don't know what Hulk's going to do at the end of the story. If Hulk doesn't, at bare minimum, beat up the mother of horrors, Hulk will be irrelevant. If Hulk doesn't, at bare minimum, beat her up, I don't need him to kill her because that's a little ridiculous. I don't need him to seal her. If the sealing is okay, that's possible. It could be a bonus. If he doesn't, at bare minimum, punch her in her shit, irrelevant. I don't ever want to hear about the Hulk ever again because the fact that this whole story is like it's just sort of centered around him and her. I just don't want to hear it again. Like, this character is useless. What does he do besides rampage and beat his friends up? Every time there's a big bad, he never gets it done against the big bad. People talk about the Thanos fight. I don't care. Like, honestly, looking back at it, it was great for Hulk. it's whatever for Thanos. I don't care about his Thanos fight. That fight, the whole time Thanos was focused on the soul. If Hulk was a real threat, Hulk would have consumed all of Thanos' attention. Hulk, in the middle of the fight, is still talking to the soul. I don't care about this, or the Mind Stone, whatever that was. I don't care. I don't care. If a stone is more important than Hulk, obviously the writers are wild and they're all over the place with this character. Hopefully, he puts in the work against Mother of Horrors, whatever she's capable of. Hopefully, we get to see what she's capable of. But it's all pending on this comic right now. To me, this comic doesn't end big. I don't want to hear about the Hulk anymore. Because all of his other stories are just, I rampage, I hurt friends. Nobody stopped me. Nobody want to kill me. They feel pity. Buh. I don't care about that. That story is corny. And Bruce Banner, terrible character. This story for sure killed Bruce Banner as a character for me. Bruce Banner could never recover from how much of a bitch he is. Straight bitch. Sold Hulk down the river. Crazy. Nah.
All right. So there's a lot to unpack from that propaganda you just put out against Bruce. But in all seriousness, it is fuck Bruce right now. I actually told Philip straight up, I didn't tell him he ruined Bruce, but I did tell him he ruined Bruce for me. I was like, the fact, like, here's the thing, right? Knowing Eldest hooked. Hold on, Spiffy just stunned on our bitch asses.
This guy said he got banned from the server and he just drops like $45.
Yeah, he's a menace for that. It's all love and war. It's all love and war, baby. But thank you for the donation, by the way. I don't know. We're $3 away from the violent tier list, so when we cross that, Spiffy gets unbanned. Shout out to Spiffy though. I appreciate you showing us love for real though. Back on topic.
Bro, there's 2 Spiffies. Unlucky.
So in this context, and on a serious note, lock in. On a serious note, Mother of Horrors sent Eldest. Eldest one shot in Kaido, the Beast Man, who is the first fractured son. One shot him in her base form. And the one below all had to save him. Now, I bring this up because this is known. And then Bruce is watching Eldest fight Fractured Son Hulk. She doesn't even attempt to fight in base. She goes straight to her true form. He still gets right back up. She stabs him multiple times and tells him to stay down or the girl dies. And he says no, and Hulk gets back up. Banner saw this and had no faith Hulk could clutch? Like, what?
Banner was falling for the propaganda that
Yeah, it makes him a bitch. Because
he was speaking.
Here's my counter to that, right? He's a bitch for this because
I thought he was supposed to be smart though. Like this guy's.
In all honesty, like think back to the World War Hulk arc, and then going into the Sakaar arc. Basically, the Hulk's entire run with was it Aaron?
I forget the writer.
Whoever or what? No. Pack. Greg Pack. Pack's entire Hulk's era run. I fucking loved it. I thought it was just old fashioned Hulk fun. Oh shit! The donations are rolling through. We will be addressing all these in a minute. Really appreciate all the love and support. GB, we will be
not garbage.
GB, we will be doing a violence tier list. So anyways, back on topic, right? Yeah, man, they're really pulling up on out of nowhere. I'm getting sunning on. Shout out to specifically Big Ruckus. Shout out to Big Spiffy. Someone unbanned Spiffy from my server. Fuck, get on it.
I'll unban both Spiffies, I guess, because it seems like they're just.
And then Master said, "Is James Gunn garbage? The Suicide Squad was mid, and I personally don't give a shit about his DCU plan."
That's
GB's gonna love talking about that though, because I think GB Loki agrees with him. But we'll get to that in a moment once I finish with this. Banner in those Hulk runs, when he was separated from Hulk, he was a demon. He was making tech to fuck people up. He was getting his son to beat the shit out of Juggernaut. He was on demon time. And then we get to here, and he hoes out. Hate it. With that being said, yes, Iron Man is right. Just this run alone proves he's right. Hulk is having every monster in existence unleashed on him. Let's passively like that. We literally see it boloing like towns, like just different towns throughout Marvel getting boloed right now because things are hunting Hulk. It's insane. All right, so we all agree Iron Man's kind of right. Going to that question, James Gunn, is he overrated? That's the question. GB, I'm gonna let you start. GB died again.
All
Tough.
right.
You're
For
taking
James Gunn, no.
in the
To
context
just
of that
say the
question.
whole dude is garbage because we think Suicide Squad was mid, even though arguably it was a well constructed story. It was like a fine story at worst. Like I don't get that. When Guardians of the Galaxy are probably some of the best movies Marvel has. Currently like the only good phase 5 or 6 movie that Marvel has is Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I think that's just rage bait.
Did you mean Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
Yes.
Okay, so
Alright,
first of all, shout out Just Some Guy. Shout out to Avalanche. They just donated as well. Y'all are dope. We are mad close to the goal. We are 5 away from the DC tier list video as well. So y'all are close. Donations just have to be $5. And you guys get it. I think the green tiers get y'all there. So if it's green tier and up, you'll it counts. So with that being said, GB, what were you gonna say about Gunn?
Oh, what's the topic? Is the
Okay,
topic
so
James Gunn sucks?
okay, so let me give you the full question, just out of respect to his donation.
Alright.
So, Big Dog, I'm not gonna say his full name because he knows what he did with that. But Master said, "Is James Gunn garbage? The Suicide Squad was mid, and I personally don't give a shit about his DCU plan."
Right. Real question because I'm reading Dark Side, so like I can't think off the top of my head. What other good and I use the term good loosely here when referring to Guardians of the Galaxy. What other good films has he done besides Guardians of the Galaxy? Because Scooby Doo was terrible.
What?
You want my honest opinion on his
He's
catalog?
good. Hell no.
Yeah. Yeah, like I just want to know like what other films has he done that would lead me to have faith in what he will do with the DCU.
Okay, so first, before I answer that, Spiffy asked how much more. $5 donations will get that DC video as well. It's about the amount of donations at that tier for the goal. So $5 and more counts as towards the goal. So 5 of those. Now, I will be straight. I think I am the most unbiased person when it comes to James Gunn. So let me give my honest review. Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Amazing. At least an 8.5 out of 10. Closer to a 9 than an 8 for me, especially when comparing it relative to other superhero movies. That was an amazing movie. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Sucked. Fucking hated it. I think if I didn't read a single comic book in my life and left my brain at home, it probably would have been a 7. I'm going to give it a 5. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Way better than 2. Was not as good as 1, but it was really good. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. relative to superhero movies. And I think that is important because the measurement is indeed what can you do with superhero movies. Now we get to Peacemaker. Fucking loved the Peacemaker season 1. Sorry, that shit was gas. I hope that translates to his other shows. Suicide Squad, I enjoyed it. I thought it was way better than the first one. Everything else I haven't looked into or cared for. So he doesn't have. Here's my concern, right? The stuff he's really good at ultimately follows the same formula, and in my opinion, for some of the things on the slate he has there, that formula won't work. We can't get a Guardians of the Galaxy 1 flavored Superman movie. We can't get a Peacemaker flavored Superman movie. Now, we could get a Peacemaker flavored Lobo movie. So again, it's about selection. And I don't know if the slate necessarily reflects the best shot selection. Now, I do think his Authority movie will be good, or so. Terrific casting so far. I will give him that. The casting has not been bad at all.
Okay. So, like I said, like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, like I'm not gonna say they didn't have good moments, but the damage done to the MCU because of that, like Ego is like somehow a celestial, then or some shit like that, and Ronan the Accuser gets body bagged by breakdancing when his goal was to destroy all life on that planet. Why are you watching this idiot breakdance? Then Adam Warlock looks stupid as shit. Like, just he looked stupid, he sounded stupid, he acted stupid. The best things that came out of like those movies were the characters. Like he's good at expressing characters when they're supposed to be funny. I mean, he completely, like, whether people like Drax or not is one thing, but the whole, like, people like, matter of fact, I just thought about this. You can't be mad at Doom and Reed not having a connection and being okay with what he did with Drax and how he removed Drax's story from Thanos. You cannot be okay with that. You can't hate what they're doing with Reed and Doom and then be okay with Drax as a character just because he's funny. That he completely butchered the best part about Drax. If you're from comic books and you like Drax, what you saw on the screen was not Drax at all. That was literally Dave Bautista being funny as hell. That, which is, I mean, credit to Dave, funny dude, but that wasn't Drax. That was an idiot in green and red paint. So what is he like? Oh my god! Like I can only, if he did that to Drax, if he did that to Adam Warlock, if he did that to Ronan the Accuser, I can't imagine. Oh my god! Could you imagine if he did that to Darkseid? Could you imagine if he turned Darkseid into an idiot like that, just for jokes? Or if he did that to like
what
Brainiac?
If he gave us hold on? What if he gave us Darkseid falling down the stairs moment?
I don't want to see that on live action.
Yeah, we got a Darkseid truther here, boys. Yeah, we we have an agenda being protected because I definitely would like to see Darkseid trip and fall in live action.
Like I don't like realistically.
I think if you just set aside like the comic inaccuracies, James Gunn makes solid movies though. Like if you just want a guy to get, like, Marvel hired the right guy if you, not Marvel, I mean Marvel did hire them, and then DC hired the right guy if you just want to get the casual moviegoer, which is essentially what they need. They couldn't get people to show up for their shit, and now they have a guy that will make just movies that will get the job done, essentially. Like, I don't expect a comic accurate anything. I just want characters that are like, I don't know, have arcs and shit and are not two-dimensional.
Yeah, I don't mind that, but at the same time, I don't think his characters are Like, I don't think his characters have a lot of depth. I think Peacemaker, Rocket Raccoon, and Drax are the same character in different skins. They're just, it's the
Oh,
same thing. It's the same. It's the same stupid like personality. They're dumb. They don't exactly get how everything works, but as long as they can find a way to it's like a hammer to like a hammer only sees nails mentality. As long as they get their job done, they don't really need to know how the rest of the world works. They're just going to tell their jokes along the way. They're going to be dumb, they're going to be stupid, and they're going to be funny. And that's how he delivers his characters. And when he can focus an entire cinema on that, it's okay. But I don't think Superman has any villains that I want to see crack jokes. I don't want to see if Darkseid cracks a joke. I'm gonna. First of all, I'm not watching that shit. That Superman suit is terrible. That shit looks stupid. Then he kept that Lois Lane. I'm sorry, I don't know this lady. I don't know the actress's name. I'm pretty sure she's a great woman. Busted. I don't want to see that. Um, and all the other castings so far that I've seen, I'm just not that big of a fan of. I don't have a lot of faith in the Superman movie. The colors look off. The S looks off. I don't know. It's like I don't think Superman is his fit. I don't think he should be doing a Superman movie. I think Man of Steel was great, and I think that was probably the best movie Zack Snyder could have made, and that's where his good movie juice ran out. But he James Gunn delivers the same character across all movies. Even Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock was like is just another dumb idiot who's just funny unintentionally. Like I don't know.
all
I just
right.
don't. I don't have a lot of faith.
So Master has responded to UGB. Shout out to his donation. $5. We're now 4 away from the DC video. He said, I agree. A lot of James Gunn rewrites for characters. He usually just turns them into retarded children. Also, the Booster Gold casting is shit.
Who did he cast for Gold?
I don't know. Someone look it up. You're going to get a live reaction.
All right, let me see. Booster Gold casting live action. All right, let's see.
Wait, hold on. Post it.
Oh my god, this is a joke.
Nah, post it. Chill. Post it or it's not real.
All right, I'm
What
gonna
is it?
post.
All right, we're put it in main lobby.
All
We
right.
get a look
Oh.
at it. All right. So for
Nah,
everyone watching the stream, we're about to look at the casting for Booster Gold.
this is
Oh,
what the.
I may have found this information. I may have found the same information GB found.
Look at that, dude.
Uh-oh.
Stop, dude. Stop.
What? I don't even. What's he been in? He looks familiar.
He was in the Eternals.
He was in Eternals. The GOAT movie. Everyone remembers
Oh
Eternals.
no! That it's not confirmed. Does it say confirmed?
It's reportedly. I don't know. I guess it's an
It's
alleged.
reportedly cast as DCU's Booster. It's a handsome fella, at least. Would you have put a gun to my head? I have guessed him as Booster Gold. 100 times? No. Will it work? I don't know.
I don't even care if it works at this point. I don't want to see that.
Bro, this is like a Japanese name.
Bro.
It's like I guess, but why?
I mean,
Oh,
man.
to be fair to Gunn,
That's crazy.
he's fairly adaptable when it comes
Uh-huh.
to his directing and writing.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to see how Superman like what it's gonna be like, because he did make Brightburn, and like I don't think there are any just goofballs in Brightburn. Like James Gunn can be
James
serious
Gunn
when he
made
wants to
Brightburn?
be. Yeah, like
Interesting.
James Gunn can be serious when he wants to be. So
What
I
does give
think
me hope about his
it's up in the
Superman
air.
project is it appears in his Superman project that he's taking time to establish the very minute aspect of Superman's character where everything matters. Everything from a kitten trapped in a tree to Darkseid. Like that's all Superman shit. So I do appreciate it appears he's really trying to capture that. Um that actually wasn't a scheduled question, it was just donated. But y'all see the power of donations. We just fucking locked in on that question for a while. Next up we're gonna talk about Galactus. GB made this case a couple days ago. I was like, we'll talk about it on stream. So GB recently read through all of Galactus's shit and documented it. By the way, if you guys want access to that server, we have one of our servers has like over 20 characters scaled. Everything from Galactus to Carnage, all that. But hit me up on Discord. We'll talk business. Now, in scaling Galactus, GB found himself having some issues with how Lifebringer Galactus is presented by the scalers, by the community. GB,
Yeah.
thoughts on Lifebringer Galactus? What were you talking about? What's your problem with him? What's the case?
Um, I mean, Lifebringer Galactus really was just Galactus flipped on his head. Like it's just him reversing his role in the universe. I just don't see like there's been plenty of times when they've amplified Galactus's power, like when he absorbed the hell, like when he was absorbing hell realms and hell lords and all that crap, and he absorbed Dormammu. Then he like later, with the Lifebringer thing. Um, and now they had it so that like in base form, if he just went around and ate enough, he could beat up Celestials and like just go crazy. Um, to be honest, I don't know if Galactus is the jobber people like. I thought like a lot of people used to say Galactus was like kind of a jobber because he's always hungry, he dies a lot, yada yada yada. But the thing is like the context is there, but at full power, he doesn't lose a lot. So I don't know. Like I don't know where Galactus would stand right now in Marvel outside of like being like a super powerful character. But yeah, I don't know. It's just Lifebringer Galactus. I don't think that form was exactly necessary, especially like at the end of that story. It's like nothing he did really mattered. Everything just kind of like the maker was just still cooking regardless. And then they were like, "Oh, if the superflow is destroyed, so is he." What the? He was literally shown to be. I don't know. That comic sucked. I'm gonna keep it a buck. That comic like low key sucked. He looked cool though, like the little gold and white stuff. That was cool. But I don't know like how purposeful that stands today, especially with current Galactus going crazy with like against Doom and whatever.
Doc, do you have a stance on Galactus before I speak?
I think Galactus just gets too much hate. I don't understand his jobber status, because he kind of punches above his weight class a lot, as well as getting beat up at times. But yeah, Lifebringer didn't do anything. He only really has statements. And like, didn't it turn out that he was just like no good for the universe anyway? Like they needed a guy that goes around just devouring planets.
I forget how it resets. Is that how it reset, GB? I thought the
What?
Ultimate Universe just reset. I thought that's what happened.
The
Yeah,
Ultimate
maybe that's
Universe
what
got
happened.
blown up by Galactus, I think.
Yeah, like
And
his.
then
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know how it like reset, but I know that like he blew it up. And then like Ultimates 2 later on, and now I know what's his name? Hickman he made a new Ultimates universe.
yeah. Those comics are supposed to be really fucking good. By the way, I'll be checking those out soon. Um, Galactus for me. Unfortunately, it seems like every time Thor's involved, Galactus is just gonna have to hold that. Um, I have seen him in some shitty fights. He brawled with High Evolutionary, even though he won. It was such an embarrassing fight that Galactus actually asked the reader to like not mention it, which was a pretty funny feat for like fictional transcendence. Um, However, I do agree with Tuck. He does kind of box out of what should be on paper outside of his range. Like the Griever arc where they got pulled up on those beings that could like just delete multiverses like it's nothing. And like Surfer starts boxing with one and then he's like, "All right, I'm calling my dad." And Galactus pulls up and starts fucking throwing hands with both of them. And you're like, "What the fuck?" And then he has moments where he shit on Dormammu. That whole Doctor Strange arc, like that shit was crazy. I think the way he goes down is really memeable, which contributes heavily to that status. Like when he got literally kneecapped by Thor. Like, come on. When he prepped for 2,000 years, ran up on Thanos and got shot in the head, just one shot. Like, come on. It's rough. Some of his L's are really rough. I think that really impacts him. At least like his public perception.
I think the Thanos cell might be a little unfair. Isn't that like an ultiverse?
That was the Thanos win storyline.
Yeah, I
I
think that was
forget.
his main timeline in the future.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's based on a true story. But with that Galactus discussion out the way, we're gonna wrap this stream up with a final topic that I think is just fun as fuck to talk about, and eventually will potentially be its own video or stream. And by the way, we're 3 donations away from the DC tier list goal, so definitely lock in. It's $5 to count towards the goal, so $15 left. Now, best fights in comic book history. All right, fellas, we're gonna go one at a time, so you have plenty of time to think about it. I want you to give the fight that you think is a goated fight in comics, and I want you to briefly explain why it's on your GOAT list. Who wants to start? I'm willing if no one else is.
Fights on the GOAT list? I can't even come up with that off the top of my head.
Well,
I'm
GB, I know you
unprepared.
have. I know
Give me some
GB has
time.
at least one.
I know Guy Gardner and Arkillo is definitely up there.
All right,
For
if you
sure.
want to give that fight, go ahead and briefly explain why it's on your GOAT list. Start us off with
Uh,
some gas.
it's just Guy Gardner showed up with no ring. Guy Gardner showed up with no ring and wanted to convince Arkillo to join the ranks of the Lantern, because the Lanterns, obviously the Green Lanterns and Yellow Lanterns, are merging into like one core. And he wanted to convince Arkillo to join the ranks and not live under the delusion of Sinestro's ranks anymore. So he wanted to fight him for it, and he won the fight. And if he won the fight, Arkilla would join the ranks. but the agreement was they would fight without rings. Arkell is obviously this gigantic alien creature that should easily outstat any human. So the fact that Guy Gardner somehow won that fight, and then the entire Sinestro Corps that was imprisoned because they didn't want to join the ranks of the new Yellow and Green Corps, they were in disbelief. They thought the Green Lanterns had sent an entire infantry or something to bring in Arkillo. And John Stewart's like, nah, it was just one guy. And they like pan over to Guy Gardner in his hospital bed recovering. That fight is just great from top to bottom. It really puts a finishing touch on Guy Gardner's character and who he's always been. So I think that comic fight is great.
Respect. I'm gonna go ahead and give my first submission. This is one I don't get to talk about a lot. But this made me an all-time fan of Robbie Reyes as a character. So this was in either volume 1 or volume 2 of his opening introductions as the all new, all different Ghost Rider. And his initial stories didn't start out too particularly crazy in scope because he was just getting his power. It's a little different than how like Zarathos works. So operated differently. It's his uncle. But his little brother has a disability, wheelchair bound, can't really walk. I mean, he can sometimes walk with his crutches. But he adores his older brother Robbie. Robbie's in high school, but he's also working a job. He tries to be a hero to his brother, but he also does hood shit. Like he street races. Shout out the family, Fast and Furious. Like he does that shit. Got shot up one night driving a gangster's car. That's when he bonds with his uncle's spirit, like a demonic power, so to speak. And eventually, in this comic, Dr. Jekyll Hyde comes about. He's dealing drugs and he can turn into the Hyde beast. Well, at one point, um, and at this point as well, Robbie's really struggling with if he's a hero or not. You know, like he's a Ghost Rider. He's his uncle. He hates himself because his uncle. He finds out right before then that his uncle is the reason his little brother was born with a disability because he threw his mom down the stairs. So he's like dealing with all that and all that self-hate. And then he finds out his little brother is on a field trip and they get caught in the middle of a gang war that includes Hyde. And like the bus flips over and you see his little brother and everybody's like screaming and they can't get out or whatever. And Hyde's coming closer. The bus is starting to turn on fire. And you just see his little brother say, "Don't worry, the hero's here. He'll save us all." And you just see Robbie turn into Ghost Rider and beat the shit out of everybody. Like, it was so bad. And just that moment of his character, like, understanding at his core that, in my opinion, and GB might disagree because he pretty much read all the Ghost Rider shit, I think Robbie has the most heart out of every Ghost Rider. I do. I just love his story. And I think that fight really proved how amazing of a character he is.
Yeah, I mean, Robbie Reyes. I can't. Yeah, I can't think of. I mean, Johnny. I don't know. Johnny's kind of just dumb. So I don't know. Like, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same dude that saw a wave that was going to wipe out creation. And he said, "I'll save us all. I'm the rider." And that's when he was the all rider. And he just drove into it and sealed it off and saved them. Robbie's the fucking
Yeah.
goat, dude. Robbie's the goat. Like, that ass.
What about what's Tuck's favorite fight in comics?
I won't lie. I'm not really reading comics for the fights. But fuck, I don't know. All I can think of is like how much of a fucking slugfest the entirety of World War Hulk was.
Oh, those fights were pay-per-view for sure. When he told the X-Men to come outside.
Oh my god.
He
Of
beat
course,
the
like him beating up on children wasn't really the interesting part. It was more like everything else.
Nah, dude, that part was funny as fuck because he beat the shit out of the people in the house, and then they had the big boys get dropped off, and he beat the shit out of them too.
Yeah,
Everybody got the work. Oh yeah, now World War Hulk. What was your favorite World War Hulk fight? Yeah,
that's
I want.
tough. Um, I think like I want to say Sentry, but I also want to say Zomstrange, just because like Zomstrange presents the best case for Hulk, because during that fight he does kind of go out of his way to protect civilians, when Strange does not.
Yeah, Strange is Loki a demon.
Yeah.
That's why Blade had to pull up on him in Blood Hunt. He said, "Yo, would you genocide vampires?" And Strange was like, "Yeah, for sure." And Blade was like, "All right, I gotta stab him." Um, GB, do you want to go next, or you want me to go?
For comic fights,
Yeah,
can y'all hear me?
yeah,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so Daredevil versus Luke Cage, the boxing match that they set up. Daredevil versus Luke Cage, fire boxing match. It's really not that long of a story. Brief rundown, if you want to read it. I actually forget what issue it takes place in, but you can just Google Daredevil Luke Cage boxing match. I'm sure it'll pop up on Google. Um, but so they're fighting crime as they normally do in Hell's Kitchen, and Daredevil's kind of like critiquing how Luke Cage goes about fighting crime, how he's too rough. And Luke Cage basically says, "Oh, do you think you're a better fighter than me?" And Daredevil kind of like arrogantly looks at him. Obviously, look is loosely because he's blind, but is like, yeah, like obviously. And Luke Cage is like, "Oh, so you think you can beat me in a fight?" And Daredevil's like, "Yeah." And Iron Fist is there, and Iron Fist is like, "Whoa, like, okay, relax, like, Luke, you're invulnerable, like, that's not fair." And Daredevil's like, "Nah, we could set it up. We could just go to my old dad's boxing gym, and we can have a fight. No cameras, no crowd." And this fight starts, and it's just a roller coaster. It's literally a Rocky movie on panels. So like, I'm not going to spoil the intricacies of the fight and like the details of the fight itself, but the fight it's just great. It's just a great comic. It's a fun read, and it's definitely Daredevil has a lot of bangers for sure. But yeah, that was
I'm.
my stuff.
Yeah, that fight is dope. I'm gonna actually. So it's funny because I had GB read this run because it's personally probably my top 10 favorite runs ever. Jason Aaron's Punisher Max. GB wasn't a particular fan of the run. I don't think he hated it. Wasn't a huge fan, but it has one of my favorite fights of all time. And I think this was GB's favorite villain from that run, which was the Mennonite. Now, if you've seen the Punisher MCU show, John Pilgrim from season 2 is loosely based on the Mennonite. But the Mennonite essentially was like a former brutal assassin who turned away from that life for redemption and penance and was like convinced that God wanted him to stop the Punisher. And so he pulls up to New York. And keep in mind he's this radical, here's his last mission as God's soldier. And he pulls up in a fucking horse and cart. And Punisher is like, what the fuck is going on? Hops out, immediately gets busy. And they start going at it. And it's a fucked up fight. And the whole time, it's a battle of conviction, like an absolute man of God versus an absolute man of hate. And the fight was brutal. And in the end, Punisher got the better of him. But you could tell Punisher fucking respected Mennonite. And I liked that in season 2 of Punisher, the MCU, they captured that aspect. There's a moment in the fight where they're fucked up on the show, and the John Pilgrim's like, "Are you ready?" And Punisher was like, "I was waiting on you." And they just start hitting each other again. Like that's how that fight was in the comic. It was amazing. Go check out Punisher Max, Jason Aaron. I fucking love that fight. Tuck, you got another one?
My ass has not read enough comics, I won't lie.
It's like, you're a Hulk fan. You're not gonna. What's your favorite Hulk fight from the new Hulk run?
From the new one where, I don't know, like, fuck, does he even fight anything?
Oh, dude, you're gonna shit on Brother Deep like that?
Bro just wanders around. Brother Deep got one-shotted. Let's give it to Enkidu fighting a bunch of randoms because Enkidu looks cool.
His story was actually like the jokes aside, his story was sick. I actually agree with you.
Uh,
Yeah, that story was dope.
Tuck, wasn't it you that brought the Wolverine and Cyclops fight when they were fighting under the Sentinel in that one story? Was it Tuck that brought that story up? Or
so
was it Moon?
GB is using me to bring up a fight.
No, I forgot. Like, well, I forgot who. I'm pretty sure you talked about that fight before, but that fight's fire.
Wait, Tuck, what's your favorite characters besides Hulk?
Fuck.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, yeah. Oh, I like Deadpool, but like he's kind of corny now, so.
Dude, Deadpool's funniest fucking fight. Okay, now hold on. His fights with Black Panther were fire. When he broke into Wakanda and got in the palace, and Black Panther was like, "How the fuck did you get in here?" And he was like, "Hakuna Matata, motherfucker." And
That's fucked up.
they start beefing. Deadpool dips in the palace, finds one of his tech rooms, and everybody's like, "We're not going in there." Black Panther eventually goes in. This man, Deadpool's in like one of the upgraded Panther suits, starts beating the shit out of him. It was fucking godly. I actually did a video on that run in their fights. That shit was goated. Oh, I got a sleeper. I got a sleeper. All right, do you guys remember when Moon Knight had the Super Moon arc? It was right before Noel came, and Khonshu was convinced he had to defend the universe from Noel. So he
Was that
started
where
like,
he took like all the 10 rings and Thor's hammer?
yeah, he was just stealing
Yeah.
powers to get ready. So at one point, we see Iron Fist resting, and I want to say he was on the moon. I might be wrong, but I want to say he was either on the moon or maybe in like the mystical planes. I don't know. But Moon Knight shows up with his sleeves rolled up, and Iron Fist is like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm here to take your Iron Fist." And Iron Fist is like, "All right, dude, stop. I don't know if you're tripping again because you have like psychosis or whatever, but fuck off." And they start brawling. Iron Fist activates the Iron Fist, and it's like the Iron Fist, Iron Fist, Iron Fist, and you see Moon Knight just in the pocket, and then his fist starts glowing, and he starts swinging back, and you see Fist of Khonshu, Fist of Khonshu, Fist of Khonshu. And he fucking eventually just drops Iron Fist and takes the Iron Fist's power. It was great. That fight was so sick. Actual gas.
Not another fight where Iron Fist loses. Oh
All
no.
right, let me redeem him. He doesn't lose in this one. In the all new Moon Knight run, I think it was not Neil Adams. It starts with a C. One of the older fellas, but he always writes good shit. Alan Moore, maybe. I don't know. But this was a moment. This was when sometimes Moon Knight would walk around with this personally, it's my favorite costume as is. All white suit with the mask. Like that's, oh my God, that design's so fire with the gloves too. And so these thugs had taken an apartment building and Moon Knight shows up and he's walking in and cops telling him what happened. He's like, "Yeah, that's cool. I'm going in." And the cop's like, "Hey, like I'm kind of gonna ask for everybody, but like, why the fuck are you wearing white? Like it's at night. Don't you think the villains are gonna see you? Like if you're dressed like that?" And Moon Knight turns around and is like, that's exactly what I want to happen. And then he picks up a crowbar, walks in there, and beats the fuck out of the whole building. Just panel by panel, it's him beating the shit out of someone else. And it was amazing. Big Moon Knight. Iron Fist didn't have to lose for that one. Moon Knight's got some bangers now. Don't sleep.
Yeah.
GB, hit us with one more and we'll close it out.
Yeah, because I like my brain's fried from I just
Yeah,
read
we're
all of
gonna
Dark
we'll possibly make a tier list later of best fights, but this is just like a preview.
Yeah. I don't even remember if this was a competitive fight, but Kingpin fighting Red Skull was at bare minimum comedy. The fact that Red Skull thought he was gonna cheat and like lock Kingpin in a cage with him or like some force field with him, and then he proceeds to get his ass beat. Stop. That was hilarious. He thought his super soldier serum really mattered when this fat ass, big bald bitch just body slams him and lays on him and is like, "Yo, I could rip your eyes out right now." And he's like, "I quit. That fight was funny as hell.
Kingpin did beat the fuck out of him. He fun fact, Red Skull stopped showing up to live meetings with Kingpin after that. Because there's one time where they get to arguing, and Kingpin was like, I know you remember what happened last time I put hands on you. And he jumps at him and hits the wall, and Red Skull's thing flickers, and he's like, yes, I do know what would happen. That's why I'm not there, fat ass. so yeah, he learned his lesson. He definitely learned his lesson from that ass whooping. That was it. Oh man, that was a goated one. And I guess finally to end it, I'll say Ben Grimm hopping out the whip in space to land and fight the destroyer armor, who, by the way, has banger fights himself and usually beats the shit out of stuff. Hops out and fights a power cosmic destroyer armor and stalemates it until Galactus gives up and leaves it alone and dips. Goat shit.
Yeah.
Can I
That
show
was
Doom versus like the horde of Celestials just for what he says?
Oh my god, that was so hard body. You talking about
Oh
when he
my
asks
god.
Valeria how much time she needs?
Yeah. He says
And,
something about humanity and it's just like so hard.
hold on, let me
I
see
forget
if
what
I
he
can pull
said.
it up. That moment was fucking crazy. All right, let's see what he says. 5 years in. Oh, wait, hold on.
None of it could have adequately prepared me for the wave of insignificance that amasses over me. Still, this power is mine, and I won't allow anyone or anything to take it. I will not be judged, not without a fight. What man hath wrought, let no god put asunder. Oh my god. What man hath wrought, let no god put asunder.
yeah. Yeah, Doom has a lot of fun.
He's a
Doom's kind
demon
of
for that. He said 5 years in the future, they do not coming. They do not stop coming. I do not back down.
Yeah,
That's
Doom has
big
a lot
Doom.
of classic lines.
I heard that in a movie, I'd get goosebumps.
Yeah, especially when it's hold on, who's this guy? What's this guy's name? Hold on,
I don't know.
let me pull
Nah,
this
when
guy's
he
name up
walked
real
out
quick.
on the Celestials and he hit them with the I am a foolish, prideful man. Perhaps this is the day I pay too high a price for it. And one Celestial was like, the bridge, portals, gates, and waivers. Remove yourself, man, thing, annoyance. He said, no, I am doom. The damned, do your worst, I will remain unmoved. And just stands there as the fucking Celestial shoots him. Like all of them. Like, he's the goat.
Yeah.
imagine James Gunn had his way, and it's Kumail Nanjiani reading those lines. What a beast!
Okay.
Yeah, we got to wrap
Uh,
up the stream after that bullshit. All right. Um, good news is we definitely hit the violence tier list. We didn't hit the DC goal today, but we did hit the violence, so that's dope. Shout out to everyone that tuned in. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. Thank you everybody that came by. And yeah, anyways, it's been your boy Dr. Splash, and remember, it's Yancey Street, bitches.